Hey everybody, Hoosier Jedi here with another review for you, this time talking episode 11 of Season 3 of Legends of Tomorrow. Here I go again. And while I certainly do appreciate the shout out to Whitesnake, this is probably my least favorite episode of the entire series so far. I mean, this is one of those episodes where you just kind of want to like skip to the end. It's just, oh man, I mean, it has really been a long time since I watched an episode of pretty much any show that I regularly review that I've disliked this much. So let's kind of get right into it. So Legends is a place where it makes sense you would play around with something like an idea, like something from the movie Groundhog's Day. I mean, they even kind of acknowledge it, although they do have Zari goof it up by calling it Hedgehog Day, which, okay, that's cute. But this just feels like an exercise in just like so much of like the weak humor and just lazy writing that we see on this show. Like, oh, Mick is writing this really stupid novel, so let's focus on that and let's not take Mick seriously in the slightest. I mean, Mick has really, in a lot of ways, just become a parody of himself. It's like the older version of Mick. He was this really hardcore guy who, would occasionally show a little bit of a softer side and occasionally show some, odd and interesting quirks. Here, it's just like Mick is messing around with something dumb and doesn't really pay attention or care about what's really happening, even though, his basic common sense should, go against that. It's just like, oh my God, really? I mean, the whole stuff with Nate and Amaya. Oh my God. I mean, the 70s clothes were kind of fun, but oh. And then like using this crazy technology to sort of just like basically for sexual purposes. It's just like, oh my God. I feel stupider from having watched this episode. Now, that's not to say that there weren't one or two moments that were nicely done. I mean, Sarah's reluctance to form a relationship with somebody who's obviously into her, given the rather poor track record she has with relationships. Okay, that's a true. Ray's like just worry that he might really have to do something terrible uh, to Sarah because of what Constantine told him. That felt very, very genuine, very real. That was some really nice stuff by Brandon Routh there. That I think was actually the strongest moment in the episode. Although Katie Lawrence definitely deserve some points for her scenes with Sharp. Uh, but there's just so much else that's ridiculous. Like Sarah basically saying, well, 2018 is the present, so if I want to dick with the history of the future, that's totally okay. Which is just really weak, self-serving logic. But okay, sure. That's what the show does. It's all about people who say we shouldn't tinker with history for our own benefit, who routinely have to deal with their teammates tinkering with history for their own benefit. And, well, I do appreciate a chance to sort of flesh out Zari. It just didn't work here. I mean, I will also say that Sarah seeing a little bit of herself in Zari, that was also, not a bad idea, but it just didn't really feel like it worked for me. And then there's the whole situation with it's like, oh, Gideon did all of this just to sort of force Zari to bond with the team more. It's like, are you kidding me? So we go through all of this, and it turns out the situation wasn't even real. Now, in some stories, you can kind of get away with that, and normally I'm a lot more forgiving of stuff like this than most people, other reviewers are. As long as you're willing to tell a story, then if the story ends up getting erased from history or whatever, I can live with that as long as the story was interesting, as long as it was an enjoyable ride. But this was not an enjoyable ride. This was bullshit. Yeah. that's really all I have to say about this episode. So, whew, man, this show just gets more and more frustrating. Hopefully, this is just an anomaly. I would really hate to think that this is going to be some sort of new standard. But I guess we'll see what happens next time. Anyway, guys, I'm going to call it here. As always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi, and please also join me on Tumblr at Jedi Reviewer. Till next time, take care and have a good one.